The modern internet landscape is a wild place. What's crazy to think about is that there's a whole generation of kids that are growing up with the internet, and with that comes many concerns that I aim to address. I'm Dominic Caruso, and today I'm setting out to see what it's like for Gen Z to grow up in today's wild age of the internet. With apps like TikTok blowing up in recent years, it seems everybody's been more active online. While this is the case for the majority of people, this especially applies to kids. The real question is Gen Z better or worse off than we think? The best way to answer this is by going straight to the source and asking the kids themselves. So that's why today I'm going to be interviewing my two little sisters to get their thoughts on what's been going on in the world. Okay, so let's start this off by saying your name and how old you are.
I'm Caruso and I'm 14 years old.
My name is Olive and I am 12 years old.
All right, so on average, how much do you spend on the internet daily? How much time?
On a weekend day, I would usually spend like 8 hours on social media and stuff on my phone. And then on like weekdays with school, I would probably spend like 3-4 hours.
I would say about 4 to 6 hours.
And then my next question, do you think the current state of the internet has positively or negatively impacted Gen Z?
I think it has negatively affected Gen Z because like people post their amazing lives and then you get jealous and stuff.
I think negatively because I feel like no one has self-identity anymore. If someone has a Stanley, someone else has to have the Stanley.
The Stanley water bottle, you mean?
Yes, the Stanley water bottle that looks like a blender.
So you're saying people often follow trends and follow each other rather than having their own thoughts?
Yes, exactly.
All right. What percent of Gen Z would be able to live without the internet?
5%.
5%. That's low. Would you be able to, do you think?
No.
That's the honest answer.
I guess like 10% would be able to live without it.
Do you think you'd be in that 10%?
Yeah, because like it isn't my whole life, so yeah.
How much do you think the internet plays a part in the way people live, act, and talk?
Oh, a lot, like 95%.
I feel like everyone is a robot nowadays. I feel like the terms we have now, I feel like everyone uses, like the terms like skibbity. Can we cut this out?
No. Yeah, just the...
Riz, I feel like...
Yeah, so the words that people on the internet, the slang that people make, and yeah, so you say it has a big effect on the way people talk and communicate. Okay, so moving on, what does the future of your generation look like? Would you say it's more positive or negative?
I would say definitely negative. I feel like we don't have a bright future ahead of us.
It depends really what happens because there's like a lot going on right now. So depends what those results are. I guess I would see a lot of like killing.
Really?
Yeah, because World War III is possibly coming, so that's not going to be good.
Would you say Gen Z is more or less hardworking than the previous generation?
Definitely less hardworking.
Less.
I would say this because telephones, these cell phones we have, they are really just taking up our entire lives. And people in the previous generations were hardworking. They didn't have any distractions. They worked harder. We don't work as hard. We use AI. We have different things to help us. I just feel like we won't work as hard.
Overall, do you have hope for the future? I know we touched on this a little, but do you have hope overall for the future?
No.
I do, because there are still good people out in the world, but like if we continue the way that we're heading towards, it will not be good.
No hope at all?
Barely any.
Do you think you're going to have a successful future?
I think so.
So you consider yourself to be the exception?
Yes.
We just got to get stuff figured out and stop believing stuff that we like hear because we need to make the right decisions and not just the popular opinions.
Lastly, what is the most important piece of advice you'd give to Gen Z regarding internet usage?
Don't believe everything you see on the internet, obviously. Stuff isn't as good as it seems on the internet because people like dramatize everything and exaggerate, and yeah.
If you had any advice from your position, feeling that you're the exception, what would you say to the other people your age?
Just be yourself. Stop following other people. I just feel like we're too similar to each other. Like people saying, oh, what backpack are we getting this year? What shoes are we getting this year? I feel like we're too similar.
That's great. All right, well, that concludes the interview. I appreciate your thoughts on everything there. Yeah, that's it.
Thank you.
So, as far as the interviews went, I'd say that they went pretty well. It was interesting to see both of my sisters' points of view, and while their answers definitely varied and they had different takes and different opinions on certain things, one overall message that they both seemed to agree on, that they both separately came up with, was the thought of having your own individuality in the way that you think and not following the way everybody else thinks. There's definitely a problem nowadays on the internet with different opinions and how someone could easily be looked at in a very negative light just for disagreeing with you. If you were going to take anything out of this documentary, it would be to think for yourself and don't spend too much time on the internet, because that's not really good for anyone.